How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your boys, Alex and Ryan. Another day, another win for the Yanks. What was it, 9-5 last night? Absolutely demoralized the Minnesota Twins. Carlos Correa having another very difficult day. It was beautiful. I mean, Carlos Rodon looked solid. Aaron Judge had 5 RBIs. Volpe had a triple. And today we're going to talk about Volpe, how excellent he's been. His numbers rising rapidly at the leadoff spot. I think we have our long-term solution there, dude. To be quite honest with you, I mean, it was really always going to be Volpe. It was just a matter of when he was going to get there. Since that little kind of 2-week cold start after they moved him up to the top of the order, he has been red hot. I mean, you have a trio of Volpe, Juan Soto, and Aaron Judge at the top of your order. Your offense, that's all they need. They've been producing like crazy. You know, even with Gleyber Torres having a little bit of a tough start to the season, if not a lot of bit of a tough start. Anthony Rizzo being ice cold, Stanton's volatility. This team looks like the best in baseball because of those top 3 guys in their pitching. So, you know, talking about Volpe right now, you know, Ryan, looking at his upside, looking at what he's done so far, what have you seen from that makes you think, well, this guy has taken significant steps in the right direction, and he is definitely our leadoff guy moving forward?
Yeah, I remember when the conversation was like, oh, he's slumping, he's not the leadoff hitter, and I think I remember tweeting something along the lines of, he had such a good start, he was bound to regress, and when he does, it'll likely come when he's a leadoff hitter because the Yankees are probably going to put him in the leadoff spot because of how red hot he is, and he's bounced back beautifully. Like, he has really settled into that leadoff role, and having him be that stabilizing force at the top of your lineup, you know, this year he has a 119 WRC plus, 274 average, 338 OBP. Those are pretty solid. It's interesting. He's gotten a little more aggressive at the leadoff spot, almost like he's trying to get hits more than he is work walks as the leadoff hitter, which I find interesting. I think part of it is the confidence that he can get to any pitch. I think he's supremely confident that he can make contact on any pitch he swings at. And I think that's a big thing here, right? Like last year, I did not have the same level of confidence that Anthony Volpe could make contact, especially in 2-strike counts or 2-strike situations. When you're looking at 2-strike situations this year, so just gonna look at like an 0-2 count, for example. You know, last year he struck out 50% of the time. This year it's 38.6, and 38.6 is high, sure, but you're gonna have a high strikeout rate on 2-strike counts. 1 and 2, right? 48.9% to 41%. You know, 3 and 2, he struck out last year 31.4% of the time. Alex, this year he's striking out 18.9% of the time. That's a huge difference. He's not a whiff machine. Another example, 2-2 counts. He had a 433 OPS last year in those situations. This year, he has a 730 OPS, which is good for a 115 WRC+. Plus. He's 15% better than league average hitter, 47.7% strikeout rate to 27.7% strikeout rate. I know that's come with a decrease in power, like he hasn't hit the ball as hard this year, but I think you and I can agree, Alex, he does not have the build of a hitter who should sell out for power. That's not Anthony Volpe. It's just not. I think a hitter I could compare him to that, you know, maybe this is a little bit of a rough comparison. I'm not necessarily saying he's going to be this caliber of hitter, but I view somebody like a Xander Bogaerts, like somebody who, you know, first few years of his career did not hit for much power, but did hit. Was more of a doubles guy. I remember, you know, him coming through the Boston Red Sox organization. He was a great player, huge overperformer of his underlying metrics. And then, you know, just looking at the defense, it's not close. Volpe's a better defender. But if you kind of catch my drift here, I just think Volpe has the ability to make so much contact and, you know, put the ball in play and run so well that I think he can maintain being a good hitter with his profile.
I mean, absolutely. You look at what he's done so far, maybe the slugging metrics, not maybe, definitely are down. I mean, his bat speed, 11th percentile, barrel percentage, 16th percentile, hard hit rate, 40th percentile. This guy is not hitting for power, but the Yankees aren't asking him to hit for power. Why? Because they want him to get on base. They don't want him to just loft fly balls, try to hit home runs, increase his strikeout rate. He's reduced his strikeout rate by 7%, being more of a contact hitter. I think this is actually playing really nicely into the equation of being more balanced. You know, you heard Aaron Judge before the offseason started. We want to have a more balanced team. We want to bunt guys over. We want to get on base and hit for contact, not just only hit home runs. And that's led to the Yankees being top 5 in batting average and top 5 in home runs. That balance has given us an offense that really allows us to get on base, maximize those home runs. Solo homers don't do anything for us, right? That's what happened in the past. We were hitting solo home runs, losing games 2-3, 2-4 because we weren't getting guys on base. Now you have Volpe getting on base at a high clip, Soto getting on base at a ridiculously high clip, not to mention Judge. Now these home runs are turning into 2, 3-run blasts. These extra base hits are turning into 1, 2 RBIs. And Volpe's at the kind of the peak of it. Now, looking at some of his splits, it's really impressive, right? So, you know, when it comes to in scoring position, his batting average isn't great at 237, but his OBP is 388. He's actually walked 10 times compared to just 8 strikeouts, which is actually the opposite of what he's done. If you look at his season averages, he's struck out a lot more than he's walked. But with that being said, when the clutch factor turns on, when he's in a moment where he has to produce, his eye gets significantly better. You're seeing him walk more than he's striking out. That's a really good sign for a young hitter to say, when I need to show up and make a moment happen, I actually am able to generate more on-base opportunities than I am outs. And that's really good, even though his batting average is slightly lower. He's seeing the ball a lot better. He's being a lot more patient and waiting for his pitch. Now, when you look at his splits when he's batting first, obviously, when he was batting sixth, he only had 21 plate appearances. He was hitting 353. But batting first now, he's hitting 274 with a 338 OBP and a 758 OPS. So those numbers, while you kind of look at them and say, well, they're not that great, the 274 average is really good. And those numbers are really starting to skyrocket over the last couple of days. His splits over the last month are excellent. I'll pull them up right now for you just so I can give you kind of some insight into how much better he's been for this Yankee team. But we'll look, for example, over the last, let's say, 15 days. I think that's enough. He's hitting 364 with a 407 OBP and a 952 OPS. Over the last 30 days, this is leading off, by the way. Remember, the first 2 weeks of his leading off was not very good. Now he's red hot. Last 30 days, 117 at bats, 333 batting average with a 368 OBP, 906 OPS, and a 538 slugging rate. And he has 3 homers to 12 RBIs. This is a different player. You're seeing him start to get that confidence. When Volpe has got that confidence, it's different. He's really freaking good. But aside from his bat-to-ball skills, Ryan, remember when people were saying to us he should be a second baseman? We were like, dude, guys, no. He should not be a second baseman. He should be a freaking shortstop. Why? He has ridiculous instincts. He has a really great reaction time. You saw that play he made yesterday, sliding, bounced it to first base. Sure, still got the out because he got the ball coming at him 100 miles an hour. This is a guy who has just sick instincts. He's got enough arm talent to get the ball there when he needs to. And obviously, he's extremely confident, bouncy. Watch him play. The second that ball is hit, man, he's on it like white on rice. Really, really solid player. He's already blown his outs above average out of the water. He had 1 last year. He has 5 this year. So he's performing a lot better in that regard. He's not going to reach his 15 DRS, but that's okay. He has 3. He's on pace for, 9 DRS. That's more than enough. We're happy with that. But looking at Volpe, Ryan, how great is it to see his defensive development? Not just his offense, but his entire game has gotten better. And I think that's pretty exciting if you're a Yankee fan, looking at this 23-year-old kid with 5 more years of arbitration saying, we have a really good, cheap player for the next 5 seasons until we even have to pay him his worth.
Yeah, it was super interesting because I remember, the whole thing was, okay, well, the whole spring training battle from 2023. So it's you have Volpe Peraza. Peraza was graded out as the much better defensive prospect, had already gotten a little bit of taste of major league action. And then, as you mentioned, Volpe comes in, and if you remember the first few months, the first 2 months, I'd say, he was, very inconsistent up and down defensively, and then it's something clicked, right? Something locked in for him, and he was one of the best defensive shortstops in baseball down the stretch, won the Gold Glove, all that stuff. And then look at the Yankees as a whole in terms of player development, right? The fact that he's become the defender he's become is obviously a reflection of his work ethic, but also a reflection of the Yankees' ability to improve the skills of players. And even talk about the power department, right? I know, again, raw power, Volpe's, it's not like Volpe's changed his body composition, but in terms of game power, right? A 174 ISO last year, which is isolated power, that's probably the best statistic to use to measure, game power. This year, it's climbed up to, it's down, it's 149, but when you adjust it for the league environment, and I'm going to pull up the league adjusted stats here, his isolated power is 3% better than league average this year. Last year was 5% better than league average. He's right around where he usually, he's not too far off in terms of game power when you adjust for the run environment. Another big thing here, Volpe was pulling the ball a ton, which I don't have a problem with if you're a high fly ball hitter, but Volpe was not a high fly ball hitter, so that was not necessarily working in his favor. This year, it's at a 130. He has a 130 opposite percentage plus, which means he's hitting the ball the opposite field 30% more than league average hitter. I think that's important, right? He's striking out 8% less than the league average hitter. His walk rate is literally league average, right? He's just a very well-rounded hitter. He's got above average contact skills, average walk rates, above average, game power. It's not like this is this is not a hitter who's just relying on, dink and dunk singles. He's using his speed to stretch out extra base hits. He's, hitting the pitch where it's pitched. He's doing kind of everything from a skill, look, will he have a 130 WRC plus all year? Probably not. I'm going to bank on no. But does it have to be for him to be a good player? know, right? Like a 130 WRC plus version of Anthony Volpe is an MVP candidate. Like this is a guy, he's on pace to have like what, a 7 or 8 WAR year, Alex. Like if he doesn't sustain this, oh no, Anthony Volpe is going to go from an MVP caliber player to just an all-star. The horror, like I'm not too concerned about what a potential like regression would look like or anything of the sort of that.
Yeah, I'm not. Look, this is a player that, you know, has worked diligently to get to this point to maintain this consistency. He's got such good mentors, such good guys behind him, and I think that he loves the challenge. Like that, we've said this about Volpe for a long time now. This guy needs to be challenged. He does not need to be a walk in the park player. He does not need to be the guy that doesn't work that hard. He loves to work hard. He loves the challenge. He loves the battle, the adversity. They're like, Yankees were like, hey man, we're gonna stick you in front of Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. Get the hell on base. What has he done? He's gotten the hell on base, hitting extra base hits, slapping the ball to right field. And one of the most impressive things to me, Ryan, is his ability to spray the ball over the field. Most of his hits have come in right field this season. That's really interesting to me. You know, he's not pulling the ball at all. He's slapping it the other way. And he's getting a lot of extra base hits out of it, a lot of doubles down the right field line. So this is a really, really interesting kind of development for Volpe, who we've seen like Gleyber Torres take this method, go this route before in terms of hitting the ball opposite. Yankees have gotten him to be more of a slap hitter, and it's been really good for Yankee Stadium because there's a huge gap between second base and first base. I think that he's really just finding those gaps and holes there. And, you know, I think that he's able to elevate the ball a little bit more doing that. He's able to kind of drive the ball on a line instead of pulling it on the ground to the left side of the field. A lot of his ground balls have been to the left side. A lot of his hits have been to the right side. So you're seeing like they're kind of making him a slap hitter. I like this about him. I think it's an interesting development where they found a way to actually maximize his skill set and kind of how he hits his fundamentals. But really solid young player. Love Anthony Volpe. He's developed so nicely, and you know, hopefully we'll see even more growth and consistency from him moving forward. As always, my friends, make sure to like and subscribe, drop your comments below, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.
Perfect.